course, so all you need to remember is the abbreviation.
Okay, awesome.
We'll not
Thank you.
spell out the
That
whole
makes
thing.
sense.
So I just want to let you know what that stands for. Let's see. We have PRH, prolactin-releasing hormone. PIH, prolactin-inhibiting hormone, so releasing versus inhibiting, excitatory, inhibitory, in other words. We have GHRH, growth hormone, releasing hormone. Let's see, what else do we have here? GHIH, growth hormone inhibiting hormone, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All of these target the anterior pituitary gland. So these are 7 hormones from the hypothalamus of the brain that specifically target receptors in the anterior pituitary. So they're controlling the activity of the anterior pituitary. So the anterior pituitary produces thyrotropin, produces corticotropin, produces 2 different gonadotropins, FH and LSH, FSH and LH rather, produces prolactin, produces growth hormone. So the hypothalamus that produces hormones that control the activity of the anterior pituitary. Hypothalamus also produces ADH, antidiuretic hormone, squeeze hormone in there. Yes, I can. All right. And oxytocin. So what do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Bingo, got them. All from the hypothalamus. The first 7 control the anterior pituitary. The last 2 get stored in the posterior pituitary. Hypothalamus makes them, stores them in the posterior pituitary. So when the posterior pituitary is secreting, it's secreting either ADH into capillaries or oxytocin in the capillaries as circulating ligands. Okay, so that's hypothalamus. Coming down the left side, pituitary gland. Pituitary. There are 2 pituitary glands. There's an anterior and there's a posterior. They share a capillary network, but other than that, they really have nothing in common. So the anterior pituitary, which by the way is also known as the, I should have mentioned this, pituitary gland is also known as the hypophysis. The combined pituitary gland is also known as the hypophysis. The anterior pituitary is also the name for the adenohypophysis, which you have right there on page 218. And the posterior pituitary is also known as the neurohypophysis. So adenohypophysis, anterior, neurohypophysis, posterior. So the adenohypophysis, the anterior pituitary, and we've got thyrotropin from there. We've got corticotropin, not the release hormone, but the actual corticotropin. 2 different gonadotropins, LH and FSH. I should put these over here. LH short for luteinizing hormone. Luteinizing hormone. FSH short for follicle stimulating hormone. Okay. Let's see, prolactin, growth hormone, let's see, LH, FSH. So look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different hormones produced by the anterior pituitary here. 5 of which are actually under the control of the hypothalamus, so I think. So everything I've underlined, not including the RHIH bit, would be from the anterior pituitary gland, or adenohypophysis. Posterior pituitary, aka the neurohypophysis, does not produce any hormones at all. But is the storage structure for two, and it secretes those two. It will secrete those two. So, and those two are norepinephrine and epinephrine. So we normally think of norepinephrine in particular as a neurotransmitter, a very, very common peripheral neurotransmitter. Both of these are neurotransmitters in the central nervous system. So how on earth can they be hormones? Well, the posterior pituitary secretes them directly in the capillaries. So in other words, when they're reaching their ligands, the very, very same ligands that enter synapses, when these ligands reach their receptors, I should have said, when these ligands reach the receptors, they have the same effect as the neurotransmitter versions being secreted into the synapses. But they're getting to their receptors by way of the bloodstream. So some endocrinologists kind of split the difference and call them the neurohormones, because they act as neurotransmitters when they're going to the synapses, and they act as hormones on the very, very same receptors, but getting those receptors by way of the bloodstream. Okay, so that's posterior pituitary, storing and secreting these two. Let's see. I'm sorry. God, I can't believe I said that. The last 2 minutes, total bullshit. Okay? So let's fix this. Okay. Let's start posterior pituitary all over again. All right. Posterior pituitary secretes, receives from the hypothalamus, ADH, and oxytocin. Receives ADH and oxytocin from the hypothalamus, and then it will secrete these molecules as hormones into capillaries. So the actual source of these would be the hypothalamus, stored here, and posterior pituitary secreted from into the circulation. I apologize for that whole norepinephrine, epinephrine nonsense. They're coming up. I will be dealing with them, but not here. Okay. Now, that pituitary / hypophysis, on to thyroid gland. Thyroid gland, we have T3, T4, and calcitonin. 3 separate hormones. Although T3 and T4 are very, very similar. They only differ in one iodine atom. 3 bound to the molecule versus 4 bound to the molecule. But functionally, you'll be, if you haven't had endocrine yet in the lecture, you'll be hearing about how they differ and their effect on target cells. Calcitonin, completely separate, different kind of hormone. It's a protein. It's a much more molecularly massive molecule. So. Cells, and these come from what are called the parafollicular cells of the thyroid gland. Okay? So for thyroid gland, suppose I were to target a follicular cell of the thyroid gland. I would ask you what kind of cell is this? It's what gland is it a part of, and name a hormone that it secretes. For that case, it would be one of these two. You can write down either T3, T4, you can put both down just to hedge your bets, so to speak. All right, so you notice that under the thyroid gland, we've got follicular and parafollicular cells of the thyroid gland. So follicular cells are the source of the T3 and 4, parafollicular produce the protein hormone calcitonin. Pancreas. On to pancreas. Most of the pancreas is not endocrine. I would say 95% of pancreas cells do not produce hormones. But what about the 5% that do? They're clustered together in what are called islets of Langerhans, also known as pancreatic islets. You have little groups of cells scattered here and there throughout the pancreas, and they are endocrine. And the pancreatic islets, the islets of Langerhans, to say his name properly, produce insulin and glucagon. The hormones insulin and glucagon come from the pancreatic islets. Well, not all, but the large majority of the remaining cells of the pancreas are called acinar cells. They are not endocrine, but they do produce what's called pancreatic juice. Pancreatic juice enters the pancreatic duct, enters the small intestine, neutralizes stomach acid, has a lot of enzymes in it that continue to break down the food, and so on. But the acinar cells are by far the most common cells you'll see on a pancreas slide, but they are not endocrine. Adrenal glands. Adrenal glands, I think the capsule is not endocrine. The capsule is the connective tissue covering of each adrenal gland. Adrenal, by the way, is from the Latin for on top of the kidney. So an adrenal gland is a gland on top of a kidney. And so covered by this thin connective tissue capsule. And then we've got two endocrine regions. We've got the adrenal cortex, which is in 3 layers. You do not need to know the 3 layers. You get to cross out zona fasciculata, zona glomerulosa, zona reticularis. So just delete those. You do not need to know, in here at least, can't speak for lecture, do not need to know the 3 zonas of the adrenal cortex. But what hormones are produced by the adrenal cortex? Aldosterone, cortisol, and the so-called adrenal androgens, male sex hormones. Dehydroepiandrosterone, let's see what else? Androstenedione, but again, collectively the adrenal androgens. And they all come from separate layers. Remember the three distinct tissue layers on the adrenal cortex, each layer. This comes from one layer, from another, and from yet another here. So that's the adrenal cortex, which surrounds the adrenal medulla. So the adrenal medulla, now we're back to it again. The adrenal medulla secretes norepinephrine and epinephrine. Okay? From the adrenal medulla. Okay? This time I'm sticking to my story. The adrenal medulla is the circulatory source of norepinephrine and epinephrine. So again, neurohormones at this point. Gonads, the sex organs, the primary sex organs. So the male gonads would be the testes, the female gonads would be the ovaries. The ovaries produce estrogen and progesterone, and the testes world famous for testosterone. All right. Let's see. The pineal gland or pineal body produces one hormone, melatonin. And the thymus, we deleted. We deleted on the previous page, we're deleting it here. Don't worry about the thymus. It actually produces a hormone called thymosin, but we don't have any models showing the thymus gland. All right, let's see. Moving on, any questions before we do move on? Just a stretch? Okay.